Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show coming at you from the great state of Florida. And certainly wherever you are tuning in from around the world, I do want to welcome you to the channel. Thanks for joining. For those of you regulars, you know what I'm going to say next. Smash that like button. This helps get the channel out to more people and helps support the channel. Really do appreciate all the amazing comments that get left below, the kind words, the encouragement that you take the time to post. That does mean a lot to me. Thank you. And of course, I do look to get back to the questions as soon as I am able to. So just be patient if I haven't gotten back to you yet. And of course, we have the cheat sheet below in the description. And it's got all the entries and the exits for HODL and also for swing trades. In the HODL section, a lot of our entries have been hit. And we're going to enjoy some fun as we fill in those take profit levels on the way up. Okay, and of course the swing trades have absolutely been crushing, absolutely been smashing. We have had some incredible success over the last month with about 10 or more coins that we have been swinging multiple times over and over, being able to get entries and profits, and so forth. And I'd also say, if you're not in the Discord, because there are a ton of activity in the Discord, a lot of levels, a lot of questions. And if you're not in the Discord yet, the link below is in the description. It's also in the cheat sheet. I encourage you to be part of the most amazing community, the Stocks with Josh community. I'm in the crypto channel there daily. Okay, now for those of you, I keep getting emails coming in for the paid one-on-one training sessions with me, which is fantastic. Remember, I'm only going to be taking the first 20 people that emailed first. You get an intro session, a one-off intro session, and then those people have the option to taking up one of my paid 20 training packages. 5 of those are weekly training with me, mentorship, and then the other 15 are more flex packages, which I created due to the incredible demand that I had of people emailing in. So I opened up another 15 spots. They aren't weekly spots. So like their flex packages could be monthly, could be bi-weekly, or just as needed kind of sessions. And then after those, because emails kept coming in, what I decided to do is that for those of you who maybe didn't get your email in time. And I do want to say, I was talking to an amazing gentleman yesterday, and he was telling me that he was listening. I think he was in the shower listening to my show when I talked about the training packages. And he got his phone and he got his email in. And so I do want to appreciate that dedication and hustle, because this game is all about the hustle and the grind and being in there and not just working harder, but also working smarter. I want to help you sharpen your axe and make your trades more powerful and effective. So for everybody who does email in, even if you don't get one of those ongoing training packages, I am committing to getting through the list of emails and offering you at least a one training session with me where we can talk about things that you want help with, want to learn from, go over your portfolio, give some suggestions. Because remember, they just will be suggestions in my opinion, because this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? Says the great Maximus Decimus Meridius from the movie Gladiator. And so anyway, I just wanted to give you a heads up there. The link is below in the description for the email address for you to send to. Do not, if anybody else contacts you or reaches out to you, I will only reply to an email that you send to me and that I reply back to. There's no way that any kind of scammer or whatever can reproduce that. It has to be my email address, and you'll see what you emailed me as I reply to it. So that will be all very much a safe way to do that. Okay, we're going to jump into the news events here. And first off, we have, is October, is the event cancelled? I mean, everybody was so pumped. We had the green September, we had September, and we're about to come into Rocktober. And I did get a 5 out of 10 from somebody who actually lives in England that liked or semi-liked. They were ish on my English. I'll take that as a win. I'll take 5 out of 10 as a win. I'll keep working on that English accent there for you and hope I can do a better job. But Uptober, is the event cancelled? That's the question for today's video. And so we're going to certainly jump into that and see what we have regarding Uptober. I'm going to keep calling Uptober because I'm going to speak in the positive and be optimistic here. But certainly this is what happens when everybody tweets Uptober. Just stop tweeting about Uptober. Certainly that was a great setup yesterday for a nice little dump in the market there, but certainly it's very interesting. But this is very interesting here. The start of Bitcoin Uptober in previous cycles. So in 2016 and 2020, the breakout occurred on the 11th and the 8th. So again, we're looking at this first week. Isn't it interesting? We saw the low, I think June 5th was the low, July 5th was the low, August 5th was the low, and then it was September 6th, a day late. We're going to get October 7th, or maybe it'll jump earlier and be October 4th. But generally speaking, like I've said, so many months that we're in the reaccumulation phase, and there are still some altcoins that, and even Bitcoin, in my mind, right at the 200 EMA or pretty close, dollar cost averaging here has generally always brought great historical returns. So if you're thinking of buying Bitcoin and wondering what level, this is not a bad place to dollar cost average. And if you don't know what dollar cost average means, it just means you don't go in with all your dough on one spot. You break it up and say, okay, I'm going to put, I've got $100 left to spend on Bitcoin, and I'm going to throw 30 of it here. And if it drops to back down 60, put another $30, drops to 57, 58, might put another $30. That kind of strategy there. Certainly not a place to drop some, and certainly not a bad place to drop some money, for Bitcoin. Historically, that's been the case. And this has also been the case for altcoins. When Bitcoin has been around the 200 EMA on the daily, it's generally been still a good time to accumulate altcoins. Some altcoins have popped off and away, so I'm a little bit more hesitant, but I think the majority are still around or close to the 200 EMA. And this is why I need to do a whole video on the 200 EMA. I was going over that moving average with one of my training sessions yesterday. Such a powerful indicator that I use, and why it's so powerful, because you can trade it on so many different time frames. And maybe we'll look a little bit at that in the altcoin show, which is coming up in a couple of hours, so don't miss that. All right, and then I will say before we move on to this little thing here, the low of October has generally been the low for the entire fourth quarter 8 out of 13 times, 8 out of 13 years. So generally speaking, the low that we have in October, whatever low gets set, is generally going to be the low for the rest of the year. Isn't that amazing? And even more interesting, that if you then remove the years that are not a halving year, so if you just go to the halving years, that goes from three. So 2012, 2016, and 2020, whatever the October low was in that year was the low for that month, was the low for the entire year. Remember I gave you that stat about September, and how September, the first week of September, it didn't go beyond the 8th, and what happened, we had the low on September 6th, and I did say to you just shortly after that, that was going to be the low for September, and what happened? I turned out to be absolutely correct on that. Okay, so it's going to be very interesting. Maybe we've already set the low. Actually, past a couple of Octobers, it's actually been October the 2nd. And we're on October the 2nd right now. So I think we could be, if history repeats, your low is going to come in somewhere in the first, week or so. I think up to about maybe the 10th or 11th of October, somewhere in this first week and a half, 2 weeks. And then obviously from there, it's generally likely going to be the low for the rest of the year. We won't ever see Bitcoin come back to that price. Maybe that low already happened yesterday when we went and touched the 50-day moving average, which was you in the Discord. I was giving this advice. I was giving these details. I was giving these trades in there as something that you could potentially, that I was looking at, that you could potentially follow, of course. All right, what do we see here? Stick it on your wall and come back in 90 days. S&P 500, gold, and Bitcoin through major geopolitical events. You can see generally the 10-day return has, Bitcoin has been the clear winner, obviously, in this here. But certainly you've seen after 60 days, after this, and this is why I always see this as buy the dip opportunities. I loved in the Discord, somebody came in and said, what are you thinking about the Iran thing? And I'm like, and they said, buy the dip opportunity, right? And I'm like, yeah, it is buy the dip. And I was only nibbling, by the way. I didn't go all in heavy bags or anything like that. And I generally don't like to. I like to see a reversal and a confirmation that we've had a reversal, not just a dead cat bounce, by the way. If you don't know what a dead cat bounce is, you need to look that up on Google in trading. But essentially, it's when a market hits boom, and then it hits all these buy orders, jumps up a little bit, and then comes back, and there's no more buy orders there, and it just keeps going down because that happens. So that's a dead cat bounce essentially. But certainly you can see here, this is kind of positive signs for buying the fear and buying the blood that are buying those red candles, etc. But being responsible about it as well. And again, I just had some nibbles yesterday. It worked out pretty good. We'll cover in the altcoin show the nibbles that I had in the market and how they've turned out so far today. And then, of course, we have, history is, doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes, is the saying. And certainly, Marty Party. I do like the name Marty Party. But analyze Bitcoin flows. Majority of the selling today was from known market maker and exchange addresses, aka the whales. Massive market manipulation. In other words, this is pure manipulation to eliminate leverage longs. And certainly, whales sell large amounts of crypto. The red candles cause panic. The price drops. Paper hands panic sell. Same whales buy back and accumulate more tokens. That's the game. Don't fall for it. You will buy higher. Do you know how many coins I sold yesterday? 0. Why? Because I don't sell red candles. I buy red candles and I sell the green candles. Okay. So very, very important to differentiate that and understand the manipulation that can sometimes go on. And it just really is about the smart money. And you do want to follow the smart money. And 959,000 Bitcoin has been converted into long-term holder supply over the last 30 days. Come on. What is the smart money doing? They're accumulating. Why? Because we're in the reaccumulation phase and we're about to leave that reaccumulation phase if history repeats as it has. And some altcoins, in my opinion, have kind of left that reaccumulation phase. Although you can say that with both Tau, Potenza Tau, and Sui, which are two coins that I have identified as two of my top picks in this bull run and have constantly mentioned over just the last few months, have been the ones that have really led this breakout. They're not even back to their market cycle all-time highs yet. So in theory, there is still some accumulation that could take place. But just again, it should be nibbling and dollar cost averaging at these levels in case we do get a further flush out to the downside, okay? So that's something just to keep in mind there. Okay, we're going to jump into the charts. And what did I say? I said, what was I doing here? I was taking profits up there. That's what I was doing up here. I was taking profits up here. Why was I taking profits up here? Because this is the TTT, the Tribal Trades Trend Line. And don't fade that Tribal Trades Trend Line because I've drawn that in and look how price has reacted to this over the last, all the way back many, many months ago now, maybe 6 months ago. I'm not going to go back there because we've done that in previous videos. But as you can see here, what did I say? And I said this in the Discord. If we come down, the first level to look for, and that we did find resistance was temporarily, was at 60, around that 62,000 level at the top of this EMA ribbons band here. But it didn't hold for very long, and we came down and we touched that 50-day moving average because these two lines are together. These are two massive moving average in the context of trading in this bull run in Bitcoin, the 50-day simple moving average and the 200 EMA on the daily. And I said in the Discord, I expected one of those to hold, that there would be support there. I wanted to see how it reacted off there. And certainly we've had a good reaction off there. Now, is this going to be a dead cat bounce? Are we going to see this cover, reclaim here, test that as support, and then move onwards and upwards possibly? Was this it? It could have been it, because in reality, what we've done here is created a higher low. And this is the candle that I was concerned about losing here, which is sitting at about, what are we at, 57,610, or the one below it actually, 57,493. I didn't want to have a lower low created. We didn't want to lose this. Now, a wick below this. But remember, the 200 EMA on the daily has historically always been a good buying place for Bitcoin. And just remember what I said earlier is that historically, the low of October has generally been the low of the entire quarter for the rest of the year, 8 out of 13 times and 3 out of 3 times the halving year. I think this will also be the case, that whatever the low we put in October will likely be the low for the remainder of the year. Now, of course, there could be some global events, black swan events that we could have that could have a say in that, but generally speaking, we see the cycle play out like other cycles. But you can see here that we do have this low here, we have a higher low, and then so far a higher low here. But this is just a crucial moving average. But it just, again, it doesn't really go far from the 200 EMA. It just doesn't when we get down there. Now, of course, once we start to go parabola, it certainly can move away from it. You can see here how far it's moved away from that 200 EMA, okay, when we really start to take off. And so I'm not concerned about that. But when we do come down to it, it just doesn't move very far from it. We just don't go very low below it, and we don't go for very long below it. So this can be a pretty rock solid indicator for when do you buy. For me, if I was giving financial advice, which I'm not, of course, I'm not, but for me, it's just buy here, buy here, buy here, buy here. Even under the 200 EMA on the daily in a bull market has historically been the best time to buy, even better than the 200 EMA. Certainly, there's a lot of fear and a lot of blood in the streets there. And then, obviously another opportunity to pick up some more at the 200 EMA on the daily. So a lot of people in the Discord were saying, hey, when do I pick up some Bitcoin? Historically, 200 EMA has been rock solid. And of course, it didn't even touch the 200 EMA. It got to the 50-day moving average there. And that's quite bullish in itself, that we didn't come down, or not even a wick below. I mean, we just didn't even get there. And the 50-day moving average providing some great protection. So we'll see what shakes out again today. I'm not prepared to say, that, this is it for now, because there's just not enough data here. But certainly here, when I did call these dips and said that the bottom was in back in July, and those of you who watch the channel know that, and the bottom was in here, and we were going to go up, and again here. And so at some point, I'll give some clarification here on what I feel, but at the moment it's held, and I think that's a good sign. Where could we go from here? We could get some further bad news come in, and we could see a further drop and back down to this 59. About 59,900 is where that is. So we could just wick below that. And we could also wick down here to this 58 level here, just at the bottom, and even claim half of these wicks here, which is right at the top around 58. So that's kind of the next downside area that I'm looking at, around this 59 or 60, might as well call it 60K, because 59,965, or down a little bit further, this 58. And then obviously if we have found support here, then we just got to look at this level here, which is around 62,500. We want to get back above that, retest that as support for some continuation back to the upside. And then we're going to come and hit this beautiful trend line up here again. But let's just see what shakes out in that regards with Bitcoin. And of course, I have my altcoin show coming up real soon. So stay tuned for that. So until the next episode, happy trading.